analyzes poetry, Still I Rise by Maya Angelou. The second slide is elements. This is the most element that I saw when I read this poem or this poetry. First is imagery, second is figure of speech, and the third one is theme. Next is I will explain about the elements that I told you before. The first is imagery. The imagery is a visual, collectively, or visual symbolism. The imagery includes part of poetry. It thus can help to analyze a poem. One of the poems is Still I Rise by Maya Angelou. This poem is the work of poet named Maya Angelou. In this poem, Maya Angelou tells about how African and American women live surrounded by the majority of white people in America. Maya Angelou described how she felt overcoming the suffering of life and how she motivated herself to go out of suffering. How to stay strong in the face of things that feel so unfair, but still have to be dealt with it. Next is feature of speech. There are two examples of feature of speech that I write here. The first one is hyperbole and the second one is simile. Hyperbole is namely expressing something with the impression of being excessive, even almost absurd. The example of hyperbole in this poem is "Cause I walk like I've got oil wells." And the second one is simile. Simile is a feature of speech comparing one thing to another by using a conjunction or comparison words. The example of simile in this poem is just like moons and like suns with the certainty of tides, just like hopes springing high, still I will rise. Next is them, or the last elements that I write here. Theme of this poem that I got or that I can say is self-persistence. Self-persistent because in this poem it can be seen how in this life one can constantly get bad talk or ridicule from people, but after all that is no reason to fall down and not get up again. And the last one is meaning. The meaning that I got from this poem or Still I Rise poem from Maya Angelou is this poem tells about how African American women live surrounded by the majority of white people in America. Maya Angelou described how she felt overcoming the suffering of life and how she motivated herself to get out of suffering. The meaning in this poem is very deep. How does someone feel really full but still try to get up again and get out of that slump because fighting for oneself is important and very necessary to do. It is not important what people say. What we should do is always need to get up again and don't fall too deep because good things will always come after bad things, especially for people who are always persistent. I think that all that I can say about this poem. Thank you so much.